No matter where you're tuning in from, maybe it's the hustle and bustle of a sprawling city or the quiet tranquility of a rural countryside or anywhere in between. Welcome to the Peapod, a podcast about peace. I'm Terry Angel, and I am delighted that you have chosen to spend some time with us today. The Peapod is the brainchild of the angels who spoke to me through a channeled message and said we are all like peas in a pea pod. We're like-minded and we're fed by the same source. Imagine for a moment a world without constant conflict, a world where respect for diversity is the norm, a world where understanding replaces fear. I know it sounds like a dream, but that's the world that we dare to dream of. And that's the world that we strive to build here, one conversation at a time, inside the Peapod. Each week we explore the theme of peace from various angles, from the philosophical to the practical, from the personal to the political. We engage with thought leaders, peace activists, scholars, artists, and everyday heroes, all of whom are united by a common purpose, the pursuit of peace. This is a space for stories that heal, stories that bring us together, stories that remind us of our shared humanity. Here at the Peapod, we believe peace isn't just the absence of conflict, it's the presence of justice. It's the celebration of diversity. And most importantly, it's something that begins within each one of us. So let's begin this journey together, shall we? Whether you're seeking solutions or solace, inspiration or insight, you're in the right place. Here, we don't have all the answers, but we promise to ask the right questions. So welcome once again to the Peapod, your podcast on peace. Let's dive right in to today's episode. Oops, I hit the wrong button. Welcome. I was just telling Heather I love to laugh, so obviously it's going to be a laughter show. Welcome everyone again, and I want to introduce this wonderful lady that's on the screen with me. Heather Elizabeth is a planetary healer, a peace ambassador, a sacred activist, mystic, and consultant for conscious evolution. She is the creatrix of the Shine 13 Moon Council and the Imagine Peace Promise Initiative. Heather inspires humankind to embody their innate light, to be the peace they wish to see in the world. She is a companion and guide for crossing the evolutionary threshold. By listening to the prompting of her soul, Heather Elizabeth founded Shine, which stands for Supporting Humanity in Navigating Evolution, in 2015. Through the facilitation of interspiritual wisdom practices that promote unity consciousness, Shine serves as a sacred container for the alchemical process of the personal and planetary transformation at hand. The Shine journey is designed to provide practical tools through individual healing sessions, mentoring programs, and intentional community building to discover one's innate truth through cultivating meaning and connection, activating one's capacity to live an authentic and joyful life in service to all sentient beings. I love every word of your bio. I love it, love it, love it. And I love your energy, Heather. We had a moment before the show to speak, and I just feel like we are such sisters in soul. So I'm going to call you sis from now on. But welcome to the Peapod.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you so much. feels so joyful to be here with you, and I get to reflect that your intro, um, which feels important to share. It's an invocation. It feels like an invocation. It's just so beautiful and meaningful and powerful. Like every word you speak in that speaks to my soul. So
Oh,
thank you for speaking such truth about the potentiality of peace
mhm.
that is here within us and here for us and here in our world. So
Yes,
thank you.
absolutely. Peace, you know, people say they wish for peace. I know that peace is already here. It's in our hearts. It has to start with each one of us.
Yes.
And so I don't wish or hope for peace. I know that there is peace, and we are just ushering it in. Those of us that are like-minded and know the score, and
Yes.
you are one of those in a big way.
Mm.
So I'd love to hear more about Imagine Peace. Can you share with us about that, please?
Oh, I'm honored to. Yes, so the Imagine Peace Promise. And, I need to update my bio because it says initiative in there. And I had it reflected to me recently on a pilgrimage to New York City, that it's a movement.
Yeah.
Imagine Peace Promise is a movement. And this movement began to make itself known at the end of 2022 into the very beginning of 2023. And it is being birthed through a council. You mentioned it when you introduced me, the Shine 13 Moon Council. We have been meeting on or around every full moon for 13 moons, and then now we're meeting on or around every new moon. And we meet every moon and connect very, very intentionally through our heart centers with the knowing that, just as you speak, Teri, each one of us is responsible. And I'll phrase that as we have the ability to respond, to be the peace, to be the justice, to be the harmony, to be the love, to be the unity that we wish to see in the world. And so we come together in ceremony every moon and are very present with what is present within us and within the collective, and offer healing and repair, and also continuing to dream into being what we're wishing to see in our world. And so through our time together throughout these many moons, the Imagine Peace Promise was birthed. And it is a knowing that when we choose to imagine, to use the power of our imagination, and this knowing is very much inspired by John Lennon and Yoko Ono's global anthem of peace, Imagine. That's a huge inspiration for us, is when we choose to focus the power of our imagination on what we're truly desiring to experience and to be co-creating, that it becomes manifest. And so we're choosing to imagine peace, and it is a promise that we're making for ourselves, for our families, our communities, our world, and for the 7 generations. So the Imagine Peace Promise is seeding the dream of peace for 7 generations. So we're doing and being the best that we know how to do and be from moment to moment, which it's never going to be perfect and it's not supposed to be. Yet we have that intention to be the peace that we wish to see in the world. And that's continuing to unfold and evolve with every moment, as you would imagine, because we were just sharing before we went live that we both know how important it is to be in the flow. And so we're flowing with the Imagine Peace Promise as it is coming more and more alive within us. And it's a grand adventure. It's absolutely profound. Teri, you know, you're traveling for peace. What you've been doing since 2020 is very much in resonance with what we're being called to with our pilgrimages, and um, we know it's an inner journey. And then when we, you know, continue to be committed to this inner journey of peace, then bringing that out into the world in a various ways that are still revealing themselves.
So
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
So beautiful. I love the vision. You know, sometimes we get a nudge or we get an inspired message and we're like, oh, that couldn't be for me. You know, and we kind of just shrink back from it. But when we do embrace our missions and embrace that promise that comes from spirit, miraculous things can happen. And I see that. I see that happening with Shine. I see that happening with Imagine Peace and everything that's going on with the peace movements that you're involved
Yes.
in. I'm just so honored to be sitting here with you. I want to share with you. Over 3 years ago, a group of us started chanting for peace. We do 2 chants. They're to break through barriers and obstacles, and then to call in peace with Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, which is universal. People chant it all over the world. But during that beginning time of really focusing on peace and what can we do, we made a declaration, and we say that declaration every night as we chant. We're still continuing after over 3.5 years, every night. And I'm going to put the declaration up on the scrolling part of this so that you all can see it, and then I'll read it. We declare that there is peace on earth, and we declare that peace begins inside of us. I choose to see only light.
Mm.
And that the last line was just added recently. But we say this every night, and we say it with intention, and we say it with just a real knowingness that what we are saying is true. And then when we focus only on what's happening with bringing in that light of peace, we're manifesting more of that in the world.
Mm. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I love it. We've been very consistent in doing the chants. You know, occasionally more than a few of us can't make it, so we just do a replay on that night for anybody who may be expecting it to be there. But I think it's so important to have consistency in what we're doing in the world. And I see you doing that. I see the things that you're involved in. You know, you just keep going.
Yeah.
And the things I'm involved in, this Peace on Earth tour that I'm doing, I had no clue when I started out what it was going to look like, how long it was going to be. And I have never just asked the angels, well, how long am I doing this? You know, it's just a trust. It's that trust factor of just keeping on until we hear to stop. And, you know, I haven't heard to stop yet, and I don't think you have either with what you're doing.
No, on the contrary, Teri, I hear a mantra that I hear from the angels and the guides, the bright and shiny ancestors that are very much a part of the Shine 13 Moon Council. I always reflect that yes, we have amazing beings in physical form that are part of the council, and then we have, you know, spirit beings that are part of the council. And what I hear continuously is stay the course, stay
Yes.
the course, stay the course.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you can't see it, doesn't mean that it's not happening and it's not here. Just keep trusting, as you say, keep
Mm-hmm.
going breath by breath.
Yeah.
And I feel guided to reflect too that I'm human, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just as you are. And I certainly have moments where I feel some frustration, or I feel like, oh my gosh, I don't feel like I can keep doing this. Or then like the human part of me says, well, how is this going to happen? Because I don't have X, Y, and Z.
Right.
And then, it's important to recognize that, not ignore it. It's like that part of us wants to be heard and seen and reassured. And I certainly do that. And then once again, keep going and trust that the way is being shown.
Yeah.
And it always does. And
It
it
always
always
does,
is.
doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah, this is what I have found in 3 years of doing this journey. There may be times when I'm thinking, okay, I don't know where that next meal is coming from, or I don't know where I'm going next. I don't know what state I'm going to be in tomorrow. But there's been very few times along this path that I've just wanted to put the brakes on and say, well, what the heck is going on? Very few times. I can count them on one hand. So mostly it's just listening.
Yes.
Listening and trusting and knowing that whatever is needed is going to be there.
Yes.
And the other, I'm sorry. I didn't mean
No, please.
The other thing is, if I try to take the reins, it always falls apart. So I may say, oh, I'm going to go here and visit with these people and do this. And all of a sudden the angels are going, no, you're not, because there'll be blocks to that. So it's a matter of not only trusting, but believing that it is all working perfectly. Everything is already in place. It is a divine plan. And who am I to tell the divine how to run things, right?
Exactly. And that way of being is I would say is revolutionary.
Yeah.
Because we are conditioned, at least I'll speak for myself. I've been conditioned to operate in a very different way. I always say I'm a recovering, control freak, like fixer, like thinking that I need to figure it all out with my head. And a huge part of my own healing and my spiritual awakening has been what you're speaking to exactly. It's like, no, that way is maddening, honestly.
Yeah.
And the way is to trust and to allow and to be guided through our hearts.
Yeah. Because look what happens when we try to have the reins. When we try to take control, it's stifling.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to figure it all out. We're trying to make one and one make two, and sometimes it just doesn't.
Yes.
Yeah. How beautiful. So what's next for you? What's coming up? Anything?
So, well, a couple of things that I would love to share. And actually, Teri, I'm going to also reflect to you that if you are being called to come to Texas, to Central Texas, we would love to host you here. We are in process of a remodel of our sanctuary space, which we call the Shine Heart Quarters here in the Hill Country outside of Austin. And actually this weekend, we're having a full moon eclipse unveiling of our new casita here. And it's called Frida's Casita. And that is Frida Kahlo is the patron saint of our sanctuary. And then I have a kitty that's in spirit form now. She transitioned almost a year ago, and she was named after Frida Kahlo. So her name is Frida as well. And she was a huge part of my healing work for years. She participated in that. So it's called Frida's Casita, named after the two Fridas. So we're having a beautiful community honoring the ancestors ceremony this weekend, and unveiling of Frida's Casita, and embracing the next level, the next phase of these incredibly potent eclipse energies that we've been navigating. So that's happening here in Austin this weekend. And then November 21st and 22nd will be the next Imagine Peace Promise pilgrimage. And we are going to Dallas to pay homage to President Kennedy on the 60th anniversary of the assassination that happened there in Dallas. So a huge weaving with our pilgrimages are to go to these specific places right now in the States at specific times that there is, my guide showed me, it's like a wrinkle in time where these timelines are merging and there's this incredible opportunity for immense healing and transmutation and transformation and transfiguration of historical events that have been extremely traumatic for humanity. So we're going to go to Dallas to be there at that moment. November 22nd is the 60th anniversary, to offer healing to the land there and to President Kennedy and all of the beings who've been impacted by that event, including all of us, because it's a multi-generational trauma.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. And I have to share with you, that was I think my eye-opening aha moment, that we need to have something going on with peace in our world. Because when that happened, I was just a kid. And I remember watching the people that were mourning President Kennedy and thinking how horrible it was that another human could do that to another human being. And that was the moment that clicked for me, that said we have to do something about peace. So my whole life, that's been the guiding beginning of all of my opening to peace, to putting that as forefront in my life of, how can we be more peaceful? What can we do as a world of beings to open up to being more kind and more generous and more human to each other, more humane, instead of, seeing each other as competition or, just going to that dark place and doing horrible things to each other. So that was my beginning, and I so wish I could be there. I do have a commitment at that time that I can't make it, but I am so in with all of the things you're doing. And yeah, if you would let me know, I would love to meet up with you for some of this.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Teri, and thank you for sharing that about your personal connection with that event. And yeah, that feels like even more message from the angels of how important this pilgrimage is. So thank you for sharing that.
Oh, you're so welcome. Yeah, I love Texas, and I do come to Texas quite a bit. So who knows when I'm going to show up there next.
Well, you have a casita here waiting for you. We would be honored to have you.
Thank you. I will definitely let you know. I've been back and forth across the country 3 times now. And so I'm in the east part of the country at the moment, I think for the winter, and then I'll be headed back west. So I will definitely let you know when I'm going to be headed that direction. I have a dear friend in El Paso. So, yeah, so I'll stop to see you on my way to see her, I'm sure.
Wonderful, wonderful. Teri, I'm curious how you are being called. I know how you're being called in terms of from the angels and the guides to go to these different places. Are you finding that there's a pattern with the different places that you're being called to?
It's interesting. I've done 27 land blessings throughout the country. And in the very beginning, almost from the very start, I thought, I think they're making a grid. And I haven't plotted it out. That's on my to-do list, is to plot out where those land blessings took place and see what kind of pattern it's making, what kind of grid is going on. And I know that I'm not the only one doing this. I know there are others doing grid work and lighting the torch in different parts of the world for peace. So it'll be interesting when I look at it on a map and say, oh, that's what they were doing. And how does that come into play with what other people are doing? Are we laying the grid on top of each other? Is there like layers of this grid? This has been an intuitive thought of mine that, we're all working for the same thing.
Yes.
So it feels like the angels are really creating something that's so solid as we do this work. And in the beginning, I had no idea what it looked like. When I started out, all I got was the message from my spirit guides and my team to leave everything that I have behind and pack up my car and go. And I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know where I was supposed to stop. I go into a state and I'm going, do I stop here? I'm just like, I'm listening, is this where I'm supposed to stop? And they would guide every step of the way. So people either reach out to me and say, come here, we need you, we need peace in this area. And they know that's what the purpose of the land blessings are. They're honoring the land and doing an ancestral clearing of that area and giving back to Mother Gaia. There's always an offering. And then there's a stone that's left in that area to communicate with all the other stones, rocks, water, roots that are underneath the ground. So they know the purpose of the land blessings. And I've been called into states all over the country to bless the land, to ask for more peace, not just in that area, but especially if there's a clearing that needs to be done. You were mentioning going to places that we are aware of, where there were events that happened that it leaves a mark.
Yes.
It leaves this energy, and we can do something about that. And I'm
Absolutely.
fully in touch with that. So we need more workers that are aware that we can do something.
Yes. Yeah, it's amazing to me how much resonance there is between what we're being called to do.
I know.
Because so I know I shared this with you before, that we went to DC for the 60th anniversary of the March on Washington and did all kinds of ceremonial grid work while we were there. I mean, we were all over DC. And a lot of that grid work is burying crystals, charging the crystals and burying them in the earth and offering ceremony. And then went to New York and had a similar intention at Strawberry Fields and at the 9/11 Memorial. And then we'll be doing that in Dallas as well. And I know we're going to Mississippi next summer, and I'm sure there's, like you, that more and more will be revealed and the guidance will continue to come through. It's just, I feel such gratitude and awe to know that it's all interconnected. All of these crystals are forming this beautiful grid and this healing waves across Gaia and across timelines and generations.
It is. Yeah, it is. It actually is. And you had mentioned you're doing an ancestral clearing. Is that this weekend that you're doing it?
So we're doing an honoring the ancestors ceremony out here. We've been doing that every year. It's an annual gathering here in our sanctuary space, and it's so divinely timed, as always, that we actually adopted this land and became stewards of this land right around Samhain, Dia de Muertos. So it was like already there was this cosmic spotlight on the power of the ancestors guiding us to this place and being such a part of the healing and transformation that's happening. And so every year we have a ceremony to honor them as a community. So that will be happening on Sunday.
Well,
yes.
This is so crazy, and I have chills as I tell you about this. About an hour ago, I scheduled to do a 7-generation clearing, and it's going to take place on Sunday. No surprise there, right?
No surprise.
And what time did I write it down for? Hang on. I can't find that note, but it's going to be this coming Sunday. I think it's 5 o'clock maybe in the afternoon, Eastern time.
Okay, so that's exactly the same time we'll be beginning our ceremony here. We're beginning at 4 o'clock Central. So that's 5 Eastern.
No, there are no accidents or coincidences. So just know that we will be on a Zoom call, and there's a ceremony. I've led it many times before. I have a Native American ancestry. My mother was Cherokee, and so I go with the indigenous tradition of honoring the land, and also the belief that right now we are being influenced by 7 generations going back from us. And what we are doing in this moment is influencing 7 generations going forward. So in the clearing that I lead, we go back into those generations and we clear energy. So it's each person that attends, they go back themselves as I guide it. They step back 7 generations and feel into their ancestral energy and ask for angelic guidance, spirit guidance to help lift that energy and clear it. And anything that had taken place over that time frame, the energy can be cleared. The events can't, the facts can't be changed, but the energy itself can be released. And that's what we'll be doing.
Wow, Teri.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
And I've been asked by many different people to hold it again. It's been a while since I've done one. So afternoon, and then you'll be doing yours at the same time.
Yes.
I love
it. So wow. There's so much I want to ask about that ceremony, that process that you offer. So we will be sharing in a Peruvian despacho ceremony here. Yes. And that is a beautiful way of offering Aini, the sacred reciprocity, to the land spirits, to our ancestors. So we offer those fairly regularly here. One of my dear soul sisters is a mesa carrier and has been initiated into that tradition. And so we've held despacho ceremonies throughout the years. And, this one, of course, will be focused on our ancestors. And wow.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so thank you for sharing all of this, because now, we can even bring in a deeper consciousness around the 7 generations. Wow.
Yeah.
And I'm like feeling the power of that with our peace building missions of clearing those frequencies of war and violence and
poverty.
Yes.
All the vows that people took of poverty and any slavery, any time that there was a holding back, holding down, and just releasing it, just doing the forgiveness work and letting it go.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. Yeah, I first heard of the despacho ceremony about maybe 8 years or so ago. And I would go to a full moon ceremony every month, and the shaman that led the ceremony studied with shamans in the Andes Mountains in Peru. And then we had some of them that came to America, and they held the despacho ceremony. It's beautiful.
It really is.
Powerful.
And speaking of the power of burying, prayers and blessings. We have both burned many despachos, which is one way, to release the prayers and blessings, and then also burying them. We had a community event right after the March equinox here, and we actually buried the despacho that we all co-created, and then we planted a tree on top of it. So
Oh,
that's here on our land.
yeah.
Every day I get to, connect with the tree, and it's an olive tree for peace,
Mm-hmm.
and just feel the blessing of that despacho and all those prayers,
Right.
being offered to the land here and the land spirits.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's something that I've gotten a nudge on is planting more trees as I go about the journey, and I'm had the thought. It hasn't come to fruition yet of when there's a land blessing to plant a sapling or seeds so that the tree can grow in that area. So,
Wonderful. Yes. Seeding the dream of peace.
seeding it, yeah, I led the peace meditation today. We do one every day for 10 million for world peace. And it was so spirit led, and it was a seed of peace, and how we can plant that inside of ourselves and watch it grow and watch the roots grow, because we all know that the roots communicate underneath the land. And this is what we need, is put more roots down that will spread the word that this earth needs to come to some real harmonic resolution, where we can be gentle and kind with each other. And
Yes.
it's coming. I know it is. I
It
know
is.
we're ushering in this era of peace. But boy, holding that line until we get there can be tough sometimes.
It can be. And to be able to, hold the truth, that feels like a truth in my heart, that, the more light and the more love and the more peace that's being infused through all of us onto the planet, that's also bringing the shadows and the darkness
Yes.
up and out, to be witnessed, to be offered love and compassion and healing. And so, it's easy to look at those shadows, and both in ourselves and out in the world, and think and feel like, well, it's getting worse, you know, and and so to trust once again
Yeah.
that, the more light that comes in, the darkness is going to be seen and shown, and this is part
Absolutely.
of the transformation that's happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So occasionally I do this little game on my show, and it's called Wouldn't It Be Great If?
Mm.
Can we dream together? Can we do a Wouldn't It Be Great If,
Yes.
and think about peace as we do it? So if you want me to start, wouldn't it be great if I walked down the street and people made eye contact and just smiled, this beautiful, big, gentle smile, seeing me as the spirit that I am?
Mm. Mm. Yes. Love it. Wouldn't it be great if, even when we don't agree with one another, we can still seek our common humanity, and know that, there we have much more in common than we do not in common.
Hmm, that's a great one. Oh, wouldn't it be great if we heard on our news channels things that people were doing to lift each other up, to help each other? Maybe somebody clearing a driveway of snow for an elderly person that can't do it themselves, for someone taking a meal to someone that is hungry, and not just one incidence of this, but a breakout of it throughout our whole world. Wouldn't that be great?
Yes. Yes. Wouldn't it be great if holistic remedies like organic foods and supplements and energy medicine sessions and mental and emotional health care is readily available to all beings?
Beautiful. Wouldn't it be great if we could turn away from lack mentality and realize there's enough for us all? No one goes hungry. No one has to be homeless on the street. But we all pull together as a community to take care of each other when someone is down on their luck instead of just turning a blind eye. Wouldn't it be great if we really cared enough to ask another person, are you okay? And is there anything I can do for you? And then we did what we could.
Yes. It is so great.
Yeah. I love playing this game. I
Yes.
love it. And it is a way of manifesting. So when we start thinking those positive thoughts about how things can be, we are putting that energy out there.
Yes.
I'm a student of Neville Goddard, and I love, love, love visualizing and just seeing how things could be, because that's how we manifest.
Yes.
If we never look at the possibility, then it's already a no. But if we put the question out there, or we put that what if, or that wouldn't it be great if out there, it becomes a potential. It becomes
Yes.
something out in the world that's set loose, and then it can become a reality.
Yes.
Thank you for playing
Absolutely.
with me. I
Thank
love
you. Thank you, Teri. And that, yes, that is a beautiful practice. That wouldn't it be great when, isn't it great that
yeah,
everybody is practicing this beautiful game of imagining what is possible and what we truly desire to
yeah,
experience, for ourselves, for all relations.
absolutely.
Yes.
Imagine peace.
Imagine peace.
I have so loved spending time with you today, Heather. I just want to ask you if you will share with everyone how they can find you. And I apologize, I didn't have that set up already, but I can put your website up on the screen. Just a
Wonderful.
minute. If you'll just tell it to me, I'll put it
Sure.
there.
Thank you. It's Shine Heather Elizabeth .1, and that's ONE.
Just making sure I spelled this right. Heather. Okay. Make sure that's correct for me.
That looks correct.
Yay.
And Teri, I wanted to share there's a lot of information on there, and there's a page on there titled Let's Chat. And if people are curious about, learning more about Shine and the Imagine Peace Promise, if you want to fill that, there are just a few questions so that can support me in getting to know you a bit better. And then it'll go to my email, and then I can email you back, and we can continue to connect in that way.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, I really enjoyed getting to know more about you and introducing you to the followers. And I will send a link out after this is finished today. It's on YouTube. This actually goes out broadcast on 3 YouTube channels, and I think it's on 4 or 5 Facebook channels right now, as well as LinkedIn. So, yeah.
Thank you,
So I'll
Teri.
be sharing that out, and I'll share it out in an email as well for those who weren't able to be here for the live. Wow, I encourage anyone listening to get in touch with Heather. Go to her website and just see more of what she's about. And I know that you're going to be hearing more about the two of us working together, because there's so much that we are doing in common.
Yes.
And collaboration is the key.
It is the Aquarian age. Yes. Thank you, Teri. It's such a blessing to know you, and I'm so grateful for this time with you, and thank you. I can't wait to see you again. We got to see each other in Sedona.
We did. I know. I love it. I love
Yes,
Sedona. Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yeah.
So
Thank you.
just one more quick announcement for everyone. This Saturday, I'm holding a free workshop on emotional empowerment, and we do have some sign-ups. We're going to have a good class, but if anyone else is interested, you need to be signing up before Friday and get those sign-ups in to me. So we'll have a beautiful time together, working on how we can be empowered by our emotions instead of letting them run all over us. So come be with us in that. And then every day at 1:11 p.m., 10 million for world peace, we hold a guided meditation for 7 minutes, 7 minutes of your day to think about peace and call it forward. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching today. I thank you. I'm so blessed by this time together with beautiful, loving energy that's focusing on making a difference in the world and being that part that we want to see, actually being it as a model for others to look at and say, I want to do that too. I want to call in peace. I want to do something instead of just sitting and saying, oh, somebody will do it. So hopefully you've been inspired to reach out to Heather, to reach out to me, to look at what you are called to do. What is your calling? What is your mission? And hold that in your heart. Stay in your heart. Stay blessed. And namaste.